Kia ora everyone, welcome back to Kōrero with Creators. Now today's guest is a Māori creator who makes a whole range of different content, all while exuding unapologetically Māori and positive energy in everything she does. Georgia Awatea Jones, aka Geo Jones. Kia ora, welcome in.
Kia ora, thank you for having me. I'm excited, I'm nervous.
No worries. It's pretty casual. It's pretty casual. Firstly, just for anyone who doesn't know who you are, introduce yourself.
Okay. Kia ora te whānau, ko Georgia Awatea Jones tēnei, whiri tēnei no Ngāti Maniapoto, engari whare mai o kia hi te reiria. I descend from the tribe of the iwi of Ngāti Maniapoto in Kawhia, but I was born in Australia, so I've got Australian on my dad's side and Māori on my mum's side. I Kurana hau ki te wharekuru aro whenua, so that's where I got my reo from, down in Whitehall Pie, down the dirty south. And koira.
Yeah, perfect. Now, I've said this before to the other guests, but this is either the easiest or the hardest question, depending. But what does being Māori mean to you?
Yeah, that is just straight into it.
Into it.
Love that. I think you can't really. For me, it's not one thing. It's got a lot of layers. It's that question can be uncomfortable for people because of not knowing where they're from. But I'm fortunate enough to know where I'm from, and I know my reo. So I think whānau is a big part of it, because if it wasn't for my whānau, I wouldn't be Māori. Whakapapa as well, so whānau and whakapapa. And yeah, I feel the most Māori when I'm having a kōrero, when I'm doing kapaka. And yeah, but being Māori is, I guess, being unapologetically Māori all the time, no matter who's watching or who isn't watching. And just, I guess that's a short answer.
Yeah. No, and like I said, unapologetically Māori, and it seems like something you're pretty confident in. Is this something that you've always been confident in, or is it something that you've had to learn throughout your life?
Yeah, so I wasn't always as confident as I am, especially how I am on social media as well. When I moved from the Gold Coast, because I was born in the Gold Coast. When I moved, Mum made the decision to move us from the Gold Coast to Invercargill, where my koro and my nan is. And so my koro is our Māori side. So he was actually full Māori. He passed away 3 years ago now. Mm-hmm. So my mum was like, yeah, we're going to move to Invercargill. You're going to go to full immersion Māori school. Being in that, even keeping in mind that I knew that I was Māori, but I didn't really know what that meant at the time. Right. When I was 13. And I grew up in Australia in the Gold Coast my whole life. So it was a big culture shock. And I wasn't confident. I thought I was. And then I went to New Zealand and I was like, oh.
Right.
Yeah. And then to put it in perspective, my first pōwhiri ever was my school one. So I was like, what's going on? It got to the part where everyone had to get up and do hungi and mihi and kihi and everything like that. And I was like, and Mum, get up, come on. Right. Everyone. And I was like, gosh, that's so funny. I'm not kissing my classmates.
Right.
And she's like, did the little get up, get up. And so, yeah. And then because I was confident, and then I went there and I was like, I have no idea about anything to do with this side of my whānau. And I think that was why my mum moved my younger sister and I there.
Right.
So it took, honestly, a solid, the first 2 years were really hard because it's full immersion, and I could only really speak a couple of words like wharepaku, whānau, whare, blah, blah. But it wasn't until I did kapahaka for the first time. And the first kapahaka I did, the first stand I did was Nationals in Gisborne 2014.
Right.
And that I was shook. I was like, what is this world? What? And then and then the year after that, was when I became more confident. I had a tutor, her name's Jana Huda, and she was like, it doesn't matter if you can't get it now, you just need to keep putting in the practice, and you just need to be confident in yourself because your rele's there. You just need to find it. And yeah, so it was really hard. And obviously I'm white, so it was very hard for me to accept that when I was that age as well. I'd go home crying to my kōrero, being like, I want to be brown.
Right.
But like, yeah, obviously there's privilege that comes with being white, but yeah, it took me a long time to be comfortable in my own skin and in myself as a Māori wahine, because yeah, like there's so many different things that you're supposed to have, or you're supposed to look like, or you're supposed to sound like to be Māori, and I just didn't think I was those things, especially being in an environment where everyone was matata, everyone was fluent.
Right.
Everybody knew where they'd been there for years, from kohanga, and I had only just got there. So, but leaving, like at the end of my high schooling or my being at wharekura, I was the head girl, and I did kapaka. I think I stood about 3 or 4 times during my high school year, and yeah, from there on, that's kind of how, yeah. And then it also came in after kura, I went into kohanga,
right?
And I studied in kohanga, and that was like another whole confidence, because I was 13 when I came. I didn't get the structural, like how to, like, and when you're in English school or whatever, and you learn, I went this way. I went there. Like I missed that whole 13 years to begin with.
Right.
So it was cool to go back to kohanga like age level. And even though I was matato by the time I finished high school, I still had, like, it was very broken reo. It was very pākehā reo, if that makes sense. Like, yeah. So yeah, and then so that's, yeah. But I guess now I can say that I'm very confident in myself as a Māori wahine, and yeah, so that's why I share it, because I've felt the way other rangatahi and other, it doesn't even have to be rangatahi, like people not only in Māori culture but in like all culture, like Aboriginal, I've had the Native American, I've had a lot of different people reach out to Hawaiian that don't look how they're supposed to in their culture, and they appreciate me being confident in who I am, and it gives them the confidence. Like I've had kids, I've had like rangatahi reach out to me and say, hey, I've joined kapaka because of you.
Right.
I've done this because of, and like, like I've decided to learn my reo now. I've decided to reach out and find out more about my whakapapa. And even though I get a lot of hate, like those are the kind of things that keep me pushing forward in this, in social media anyway. So
yeah. And which is pretty cool, because I was going to say, like, in your comment section, I seem to notice, a lot of younger people, just by the way that they talk, or they call you Fire Geo, because, you used to work, I don't know if you do overseas now, but, you would work with kids. And that's one thing that I thought was pretty cool. It's like, it's very inspirational for younger people, like lots of people out there making content that is not really for youth, or necessarily youth friendly. And that's one thing I always thought was pretty sweet about your content, was it was just very inspiring, I think, for those who are younger. And you said you were down in Invercargill, which, for anyone who doesn't know the geography of New Zealand, is right at the very, very bottom. And I think a lot of Māori here, like, we have this idea, my whānau's from the top of the South Island. But like lots of Māori have this idea that the South Island is kind of the less friendly environment when it comes to things Māori, But what was your experience down there, when you were freshly over there, you'd like chucked in the deep end? Was the community there quite helpful in sort of, picking you up and bringing you on your journey?
Yeah, for sure. Like, because I had no experience of what Māori in Aotearoa was at the time, when I got there, I was like, wow, this is, whoa. And for the most part, yeah, so everyone was very supportive.
Right.
There were instances that was a bit questionable, but like, it's just, you're going to get hated anywhere you go.
Yeah.
And when I was 13, like, I did have some struggle when it came to being accepted, and it took those whole, like, probably 2 or 3 years to actually be like, oh yeah, she's, like, she's one of the bros. Like, but it took a long time. But in saying that, I was so blown away with the culture that was in Invercargill because I didn't really understand. Like I used to visit there all the time when I was like once or twice a year when I lived in the Gold Coast,
Right.
but never really saw that side, like the Māori side of it, like the Taha Māori. When I moved, it was completely different. Obviously, I was fully immersed, like it was just straight Māori all the time, except for English class. So it was
Right.
a lot. And then there was the next layer of that was going up north and performing for nationals and thinking like, because it's like an unspoken thing that like the North Island kapa haka is just like
Right.
it's just like what? And so I, practicing with my kapa and like, learning the bracket and everything for the first time, I was like, we're so mean, like this is so cool.
Right.
And then I got up north and I was like, what? Like how does that even work? But yeah, no, like I definitely think that if it wasn't for my South Island whānau and the South Island, my kura and everything like that, I wouldn't be as confident because, you have to get tough skin to be in this industry anyway. And also just in general, like, that's just how I don't want to come across as being like I'm grateful, because I really am grateful for my kura and everyone throughout my journey and how I am today. But yeah, it was hard. It was hard.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And while we're still on the topic of reo, before we sort of detract from that, I just want to ask, do you have any advice then for any young Māori out there who maybe haven't been brought up in it, or maybe they're in that teenage era now and they're like, maybe I do want to kind of go about learning the reo. Do you have any advice, any tips, like how people should get started?
Yeah, well, I think the internet's crazy now. You can get so many different resources, and I know they probably hear that all the time. Like, just Google it. Like, but let's be real. Like, if you want to do something, you're going to do it. Yeah. It's going to be hard, especially if you're a teenager, because I think it's under 10, it's really easy to pick up another language and learn another language. But when it was hard. It's going to be hard, but like nothing easy nothing good is easy. That's the one. Right. Nothing good is easy. So you have to want to work for it, but there's definitely lots of different forums. Like if you live, like most places have a polytech as well, like polytech or free courses. So if you want it, you'll find it. Like you just need to go out there, and then if you have whānau that, from your marae, you can always reach that. I'm sure they'll be happy to hear from you. And if you don't, then again, there's internet, there's so many free courses available. I know if you're in Taurua, there's definitely a free course that you can do there. Same for Invercargill. They're all free. So it's, so there's definitely ways you can do it. And then also following like creators like us who kōrero Māori all the time. And it's always easier, I find, when you're learning a new language. For me anyway, it's good to have someone to talk to in that language, because once it becomes familiar, you don't think about it and it just happens. So yeah, amazing. Now, obviously, this is a series based around content creators. So I better actually ask, what is your relationship with social media? That's an interesting question. Okay. Well, I never meant to do social media, and I'm sure lots of people say that. I honestly never meant to be doing what I'm doing now. I'm really grateful for like that I'm doing it, but I never, going on TikTok was never my intention. I started when I was in lockdown, like everybody else did, but I wasn't serious. I called my little sister up and she taught me how to do the renegade. Right. In 2 hours, and then I just didn't really do it. Like I never did. And then I did a haka, and it was just me and my mate were talking in the shed one day, and she was like, we were talking about how we could be famous, and we were just like joking. And she goes, if you do that haka, you'll get that haka that's going around, that trend. I was like, it'll blow up. I'm like, no, it won't. Like, shush, like, no. And she's like, I was like, why? She goes, because you're white and people don't see that. And I haven't seen anyone like you do it. And I was like, oh, okay. So a couple of days later, I did it. I posted it. I went to sleep and I woke up and it had blown up. I was like, what? Like, what's going on? Called my mate and everything. But I looked at the comments and then soon realized that it was because of the hate that I had got on it. Like I had a lot of negative comments, and I think I must have reached American TikTok because I was getting called a colonizer and that I was appropriating the culture and everything like that. And then the following video I did after that was me completely into Te Reo Māori, responding with my whakapapa, what I did for work at the time I was in Kohanga, telling them where I went to kura, acknowledging my my Australian side as well, but basically spoke in Te Reo Māori the entire time and didn't really acknowledge the comment. The comment was another white person reappropriating someone else's culture.
Right.
I'll never forget that comment because it was like, and I just laughed. Like everyone else was like, "Oh, that's so rude. Like, how are you not angry?" And I was like, because it's not like that's a them problem. Like I'm not gonna. So yeah, I guess I've always had a good relationship with TikTok and social media in general, like as an adult, but as like, you know, social media kind of just came out-ish when I was in high school. So yeah, now you know, it's my job. So it's like really cool. I think you can I get into a trap when you work on TikTok, and because that's all I'm doing at the moment, I'm not teaching, I'm not bartending, I'm just being and doing TikTok. Thank you to my partner because he is he works in the mines. So but it's hard to switch off when you work on social media because, you know, I could be scrolling for hours, but like I might find 3 or 4 videos that inspire me to make something else. But then it's hard to turn off that brain and then, you know, but yeah, like I think I've learned a lot from social media, but then I think there's also a lot of misleading content that does come up. So there's, that's a very long, like.
Yeah. No, but, and two, you know, one thing that I've had to learn, because you're right, and I don't think a lot of people talk about this, like I've had to learn that balance too. You know, I post videos, I don't know what your posting schedule's like, but I post videos every day. You know, I post 1 video a day. And it got to a point, I've been doing it now for 3 years, I think, you know. I mean, I started seeing you pop up when I started seeing myself pop up, you know, so, but I'd say probably about coming up on 3 years I've been doing it. And initially it was like, wake up, scroll, make a video, post a video, reply to comments, scroll some more, you know. And obviously, fortunately, in my circumstance, for anyone watching, like I never had to juggle social media with like a normal 9 to 5, you know. I was in the band, so I wasn't doing anything anyway. So it was really easy to like get roped into the cycle of this like continuous content machine. And it's definitely something I've had to learn to balance out now, where I go like, all right, on Fridays, I reply to comments. Like I just do it once a week so that I like can get off the app. But then there comes the downside to that, where people go, you didn't see this thing happening on social media right now, you know, because I'm trying to not be on it 24/7 now. And it gets like that when it becomes a livelihood or something that you actually just do, you know, like it's not something just for fun. You know, I've talked to people who just do social media on the side for fun, and they have something to go out there in the real life and kind of put them back into reality, you know. But
no, I totally get that for sure. Like when I was working 3 jobs including TikTok, I'd post 5 days a week. I'd stay on the app for an hour after posting and then like reply to comments and then that'd be it. Like I'd jump off. But yeah, it's a lot, especially when I did like double shifts. Like I'd be at school, like working at school for the 8 hours, jump off, quickly make a video, stay on the app for an hour, make sure I'm eating, then get ready for my next job, which is like a nightclub shift. And then work till 4 a.m., 5 a.m. And it was crazy.
And I remember seeing that too. Like I saw one of your videos where you showed like, school in the morning, bartending at night. And I was like, man, all that and posting. I was like, that is hectic. You know, I know how hard it is to just post content every single day, let alone juggle 2 jobs and all that. So that's, I mean, all power. You know?
Yeah, no. And because like, it's definitely, I've had to, because it's so weird. When I was super busy and I was like doing all these jobs, like I had more of like, I have to post it. Like I just have to, like, I'm going to do it. And if I didn't do it like Monday to Friday, I would do it like Tuesday to Saturday or Sunday or whatever day. Like I didn't really have like a strict days that I posted, but now that I'm not working and I don't have pressure of a job or like a 9 to 5, like even like a, you know, night shift job kind of thing, I have to push myself even more harder. And, you know, my partner's not on social media either. Sorry. So yeah, my partner's not on social media either. And that's just his personal preference.
Yeah.
And I respect that. So it makes it a little bit harder when he's home, because he's 2 on 1 off, so he's off for a whole week. And I want to make sure I've got all my content ready to post during that time, so I don't have to make any content.
Right.
And he's like, you do you, like go and make, like I don't mind, like just. And I was like, yeah, but I don't want. I want to be present, and being present has been. I knew like I have to be present, you know. I was always the friend that was like, stop, let me take a photo of the food, eat it, or like, you know, things like that. Or can you take a photo of me? And so I still do that, but like within reason now. It's not every single time I do something or go out, because you're not present, and that's really like it's the age and the era we live in at the moment where everything must be posted or it didn't happen.
Right.
I'm trying to like work out of that. Still make enough content, but still be present. So like, you know, it's about balance, and it's all learning, because, you know, it's, I guess, but that's me anyway.
And I think too that, you know, like it's good because your style of content, you know, in comparison to mine, it's different, and it's a pattern I'm starting to see now with my own content. Like, you know, I've just been posting the educational Māori stuff for 3 years. Predominantly, that's just me sitting in my room answering a question, you know, or these interview ones, it's just clips of the interviews and people's knowledge and experiences being shared that way. But, you know, and you'll know this yourself as your following, you know, has just grown and grown and continued to grow like mine. You get to a point where people now are invested in you. You know, initially people following me because they want to see the education. And now they're like, okay, yeah, I've heard what he's got to say and I've learned some things, but what are you, who are you, you know? And so they go, oh, show us stuff from your like personal life, or, you know, who's your girlfriend and who's this and that. And that for me is like, I'm currently in that position where I'm like walking that thing. It's like, oh, but you know, I don't want to be that guy who's out at dinner going, this is dinner, you know? And it's something, and it's probably important for people who are listening in, who are followers and enjoy people's content, you know. There is a fine line too between what we, you know, obviously we're only going to share what we feel comfortable sharing, but sometimes there is this like pressure where, and you notice it, you know, all of a sudden the views, if you're chasing views and things like that, you'll see they drop for certain things, and all of a sudden I post a video of me doing something exciting out in the world and people go, oh, that's pretty cool, and I go, oh, I know that would do well, you know, but do I want to be filming that much of my personal life, you know? Like I went on holiday and people were like, you didn't film your holiday, and I was like, I know.
I was on holiday.
I was on holiday, you know, and people are like, oh, but we want to see. And so then it's like, oh man, you like, you know, in your head as a creator, you could be doing heaps of numbers, you know, getting crazy numbers and crazy engagement, but going, but do I want to do that? You know, where's that balance? And because your content, I think, leans itself into that, you know, I bet that's even harder to find that balance, you know, like you posting videos at school, you know, around tamariki and all that sort of thing. I bet that was, you know, an interesting thing to navigate, like, oh, I guess the potential ethics of situations like that, you know?
Oh my God, honestly, and because I was very fortunate with my first job in Kohanga, where I had parent permission for everything I was posting.
Right.
Looking back at it now and everything that's happening on the internet with like children being on social media and stuff, I probably wouldn't have done it.
Right.
But because there was so much interest in how a Kohanga was run and how it actually works, because it's completely different to early childhood, like preschool and all that kind of stuff. I had the permission from the parents to show that, and so I had like, so I didn't have any, there wasn't any like, don't do this, don't do that kind of thing for that. But working in an intermediate school with 11, 12, 13, 14-year-olds, oh my gosh, I love the kids, like, and I miss them heaps because that was my last job before I moved to Perth.
Right.
But like explaining to them that I cannot make a TikTok with you, I can't post you on my story, I cannot message you privately outside of school hours, or like even in school hours, not allowed. And they were like, why? My mum said, like, and then, there was a few times where we looked into getting parents' permission for certain special events, but then it never actually worked. Like, I never ended up getting around to making the consent form and everything like that. So yeah, there is a fine line as well, especially outside of working with kids and everything like that. There's like with your private life, and because I've made myself like a figure on social media, people assume they know you straight away.
Right.
So like with like when someone sees you, and I have never really had any negative experiences with followers coming up to me and everything, but I have had like very pushy, because I'm very open and very if I reply to your comment, like I'm like thank you so much, like Ngamahinui, like loves, blah blah blah, they go, oh, follow me back, or oh my gosh, let's do a TikTok right now on your phone, and like things like that. And so it's all like, obviously, there's times where I'm like, yeah, sweet, like I'm in the mood to do it, but then there's other times where it's like, oh, like maybe we can do it on your phone, and you just have to like navigate it so that you don't look like dick, like really. You don't want to be known for, oh, she was to me when I met her and everything like that and stuff like that. But yeah, it's very interesting, and I've actually really been liking it in Perth, because I've only had like a handful of followers come up to me, so it's very like, oh, amazing. I love it. But yeah, and then obviously a lot of my content as well is very PG. Like there's a few like little here and there, but nothing that I wouldn't show my nan, you know what I mean? So, or my nephew, so like there's nothing, being very cautious with what I'm posting, and because of the audience I have. But yeah, but also like knowing when to draw the line, because I'm not about to go share everything. Like this is like, yes, I've let you into this part of my life, but you're not going to come into this part of my life, because we're still humans. Like we still feel things, and I do take breaks. Like I've currently been on a break. Like I went to the Gold Coast for my little sister's 21st, and I took a break from like posting. I did some videos as well, like while I was there, but I just haven't really been posting lately. And I used to get really feel really guilty about it when I wouldn't be posting. Like if I'm sick, or if there's something going on in my family, or when my partner's back and I just want to spend time with him, and they're like, where have you been? Like we missed you. And it's like, I'm just having a break.
And I think it's interesting because like so far the people I've been interviewing, I'm going to use the word small, but like I wanted to highlight creators that people may not have heard about before, like we're talking the under 50,000 range. But you're probably the first person that I interviewed, at least non-moko artist, that we're talking over 100,000 followers. You're a couple 100,000, which is it's a lot of people. And it's a lot of people for, I'm going to say, New Zealand, like the bubble of New Zealand, And so I think it's important that you mention the sort of boundaries, because particularly when you make content of a personal insight into my life nature, it comes with this expectation and dare I say the word entitlement from people. People can get pushy, and like you say, you feel like you have to be nice to not seem like you're being the asshole, basically, right? And it's like, but you're still entitled to your own space and your own personal boundaries. I know Uncle Tix has a lot of experience with this, and of course he's huge. That's a lot of followers, and he's made a few. I know he's made a few videos talking about how when he's at events and he says, "No, I'm not here to take photos" and all that, And I read the responses. I see people's comments, and people get mad, And it's this interesting thing where you go, he's just as much a normal person as you are, and I doubt you. And people always have this idea like, oh, yeah, but you do it for a job, you should expect it and all this and that. And I'm like, man. And so it's good that you talk about these things, because I think more people need to become aware of our space, particularly too, I think in Aotearoa, we're a small country. So when people like yourselves, get big and New Zealand famous, so to speak, it's a big thing for Kiwis, lots of mine are like, whoa, that's pretty cool, but we also have that, because we're what's the word? Like a personable country, we're a country that likes the bros and all this. Yeah. We also, I think, fall quite heavily into that sort of, into the tall poppy thing, you know, where, oh no, but you might be famous and it's cool, but I want to show you off. Oh, but you can't be too famous that you're not allowed to not take a photo with me, you know? And it's this really tricky balance. And luckily for me, like you said, for the most part, I've only ever had, you know, amazing experiences. But like, I've even had the weirdest one, you know, I'm in the wharepaku. I'm in the urinal and the bro comes up next to me and he's like, can we take a photo? I'm like, whoa, not now, you know?
I'm like, right now?
Yeah, not right. I mean, wait for me outside, you know, but it's like the boundary thing, boundaries, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Cause like, I think for me, it's eating. If I'm eating, like, can you just let me finish my kind?
Right.
And like, I don't mean to sound like, oh my gosh, I take photos. People ask me to take all of it. No, it's not like that. But like, there has been instances for me that I've seen that. And then when you touched on Uncle Tex, like Leighton, he's actually one of my good friends. Yes. He taught me a lot about what I know about social media as well. Right. He was the first person to kind of reach out to me and, hey, like, let's hang out. Like, and he taught me a lot of what I know about social media, like the little ins and outs that you don't know and you don't just learn off off TikTok and anything. Yes. It's something that you'd passed on knowledge kind of thing.
Yep.
And I know when I would hang out with him, people would come up to him and touch him without like permission and things like that. And so I think for viewers and like followers, like for them to just like make, like, you wouldn't go up to, you know, like a random and just go, oh my God, like obviously you feel like you know them and everything like that. But you wouldn't like it if someone did that to you, like just, hey, oh my God, like, yes. you know, so yeah, I do feel for Leighton because of that, because he gets it a lot. And yeah. And then for me, I'm pretty, like, I've had a couple of bathroom experiences, but it was kind of like, you know, I was out and it's a different situation in the girls' bathroom.
Right.
But yeah, there has been, I remember the one time that I remember, and this is no hate to the lady that this happened with. It was my dad's dad had passed away, my grandpa, and I couldn't make it to the funeral because it was during COVID. And I watched it on the Zoom, and even though I didn't physically attend the tangi, because he's Australian, like it was like a Pākehā funeral basically. Yep. But even though I didn't attend the tangi, I still, like, my mum took me to the pub and got a feed afterwards because, you know, to whakanoa. Yes. And I was not feeling the vibes that day. And I wasn't even that big back then. I probably had about like 50,000 followers, but in Invercargill, you know, small town. And I went into the bar. I was dressed in all black still the same things I wore for the Zoom. And she was like, oh my gosh, I seen you on social media and I really love your stuff. Like, oh my gosh, can we get a photo? Like, and so I just had to take a breath and I was like, this is going to take 10 seconds and it's fine. Like, I'm not going to, you know, so I took a photo with her, gave her a hug and everything like that, and then moved on. But I think it's important for people to understand that everybody on social media, doesn't matter who they are, whether they have 5 followers, 5,000, 50,000, 500,000, we all have our own lives and we're still humans. So like being mindful of that. And I know, I guess when you see someone that you follow, you kind of, because, you know, I've definitely been there before and I've seen someone famous and I'm like, oh my God. And you don't think, could this person may have been going through things like right now, am I picking up on a weird energy or like, is she sad? Like, you know, kind of thing. And people don't really think about that. And so, yeah, like it was all good. Like the interaction I had with this lady was fine. And, you know, no bad blood or anything or bad energy. I just went back and sat down and I was like, okay, let's sit over there, like over there away from everyone. Cause people have bad days and we're too. So it's like being mindful of that. Cause I love it when people come up to me and, you know, say hi, and there's like, I'm not saying don't come up to me, like, you know, but just, you know, just be mindful and just respectful. Like you wouldn't want a bad experience if someone did that to you, like
on a bad day.
Yeah. So it's just being mindful and don't stop coming up to me, guys. Like
well, no, because, you know, you're right too, because I'm the same. I actually, which I think is one of the reasons that it works well that that I do this and I have this platform. I love it when people come up to, you know what I mean? I'm like, oh yeah, because what I like for it personally, you know, one thing I sort of I not dislike, but something about social media that I'm trying to not do is sometimes it can feel very one-dimensional, you know, like, and so like you mentioned earlier, you like to reply to comments. You know, some people would never reply to their comments. You know, they just post and they call it a day. I'm like, no, but these people are supporting me, particularly when you're in this context where you're making a living from it. I'm like, these people are, some of them are paying the bills. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I kind of want to know these people a little bit more. And so I always try to reply to comments, and people appreciate that. And like you said, you try to foster a relatively friendly and open space with your social media page, you know. But because of that, it can alter the balance in that what's the word, parasocial relationship, you know. So then you get those circumstances where people see you and they think they know you, and they forget that actually, if they've never seen you before, you're a stranger. You know, you're just as much a stranger as you would be if you'd never posted anything online. But
yeah, no, I for sure feel that. I get what you mean, especially with kids too. Like they're like, "Can you follow me back?" And I'm like, Judah was actually the one we had to talk about it. My mother mate, and she was like, we were talking about following back, and like I felt bad that I didn't do that. And you know, sometimes on random occasions I'll just, if someone says, could you please, like the youth their banners, I'll follow them back.
Right.
But then another perspective that I had was it like someone asked me to follow them back in person, and their child, like clearly child, like under 12, like I'd say like that's kind of like, isn't that weird? And they're like, why? I like, you know, I was like, I don't know you. Like, you don't know me though. And they're like, oh, but we follow you. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't know you. I'm an adult and you're a child. Like, that's kind of creepy, you know? And like, oh, true fire. Oh yeah, all good.
Right.
Like, and same with other people, like, you know, other random people, like same thing. Like, especially with kids, it's like, I've learned to be like that. And so because of that, I've actually gone through my whole following list. And if I don't know you personally, if you're under 13, like that's just, I'm sorry.
Right.
Like I've got cousins and stuff that I follow them and stuff. But yeah, it's just that boundary as well. That's another boundary, because that can be perceived as creepy. You know, I want that. But yeah, so.
Yeah, and I mean, it makes sense too, you know, and those boundaries are important, particularly when you're dealing with a viewership of a certain age group, you know, like, and that just saves yourself. And even though you're you know, you work with kids in the past, and that it's still, you gotta be safe, you know, because it's just not worth it, you know. Now you say, obviously you're not working anything else right now. So does this mean that, are you saying that you make an active living, or you make some money on social media right now, or you're just sort of trialing it and giving it a try?
Yeah, well, currently, like I have a management. I'm under an agency, so we are Tenzing. Shout out to them; they're amazing. So I have a manager, and we set goals at the start of every month. We set goals at the start of the year, and with hopes to make that amount of money. And to be honest, it's more money than I was making when I was teaching.
Right.
And it's, and I'm just lucky. Like I definitely wouldn't be able to sustain this if my partner wasn't working. Cause you know, like it's good money. People don't realize it's really good money when you get like a sponsorship or an ad or like, a contract for that kind of thing, but it's very sporadic unless you are, you know, very, very well known and you're very consistent with posting, which, like I said, I'm not at the moment. It's very hard to do that, and it is a lot of work. People give creators a lot of slack when they complain about working on social media and everything, and I'm definitely not complaining about it. I'm very lucky to be able to work from home and make, like, basically work on my own time.
Right.
But it's the same as like what you put in is what you get out. So you're not gonna get paid content if you're not posting. And I know that. Right. And that's like a me thing that I have to do. And I have to, like, that's also what's really awesome about having an agency, because they're like, hey, like, we got this for you, or do you want this job? And yeah, I think it's not consistent. Like, that's what I mean. It's probably like, it's consistent to the point of being like maybe one job a month, or in saying that one job a month is more than what I was making a month, way more than what I was making a month in school and in bartending. So yeah, but it's just, like, I don't ever work with companies that I don't think, like, that doesn't align with me either. Right. I find that's like a big thing on social media, when when
They
you
just
get a
take the
job,
check.
it's just like, let's do it. Like, you know, I'm going to get paid this, so I'm going to post it, even though
Yes.
I wouldn't go and buy it myself, or I
Right.
wouldn't go and watch that myself. Like, you know, it's like, why?
Yeah.
Like and I'm fortunate enough to be in that position to be able to say no, but my agency are really good. And because I have a good like relationship with my manager, we both know what I like and what I wouldn't want to support or
Right.
do. So yeah, I'm lucky in that instance, but
Yeah. No, the only reason I wanted to ask that is because, well, I wasn't going to make an assumption before we had a chat, you know, but I think I was going to say, I think you'd be the first person that I've talked to that is actually then earning money actively, you know, on social media. And I think there's a lot of that, particularly for those of us that are based on this side of the world, you know, like we're not in America where content creation, money making is much more of a viable route. You know, we are trying to do it down here in New Zealand. And I think there's a lot that people don't really understand. You know, lots of people think I just get paid money because my videos get watched. I'm like, I don't make a single cent, you know.
Yeah. We are not monetized here in Australia.
No, we're not. And I think that's really interesting for people to sort of hear that perspective. And particularly for you, you know, I do everything myself. I just do everything. But like, and every time I get reached out, it's just to me directly. But you've got a manager, you know, you've got an agency that helps you do these things, you know, for people who are curious, you know, how did that sort of come about? Is it people you know? Did they reach out to you? Is it?
So this agency I met at CreatorCon. CreatorCon was an event that happened last year. And my friend, like the way I heard about CreatorCon was through my friend Win. He's also on social media, Win Wolf.
Mm-hmm.
So
so
he told me about it. I signed up. And what's awesome thing about CreatorCon is that you don't have to have a certain amount of followers to go. Like there were a massive variety of like, you know, you had How To Dad there, but then you also had like smaller creators. There was like mid-range and, you know, things like that. So it's such a good way to network. And if you want to be prevalent and you want to be a part of the social media world and, you know, making money, networking is the biggest thing that you can ever do to further yourself in this career, I guess, because I wouldn't be anywhere where I am without all the networking things that I did when I first started. Because once I realized that I could do this for like, you know, I could make money off it, I was like, okay, like this is a really big passion of mine. I'm very passionate about, you know, speaking to our rangatahi and to just anyone that wants to hear or learn or anything like that. If I can, you know, like they always say, if you work a job that you love, you never work a day in your life.
Right.
And that's kind of the situation with how I am now. But with my agency anyway, I met them at CreatorCon and I, you know, went up, found all the people that worked within the agency, like all the managers and stuff. And I just introduced myself. And I get really nervous doing that kind of stuff. And like, I'm very confident on social media, but when it comes to putting myself, like I'm not the type of person to message a company and go, hey,
no, neither.
You want to work with me? Like, no. Like, unless I really align with them, I will. Like, if I really wouldn't, like, you know, not even for paid stuff, but like, hey, things like that. But with this agency, I really wanted to be a part of their kaupapa, and I knew that I would be able to grow in this career and as a person with the help from them. Right. So, yeah, I just introduced myself. I got their emails. I applied through the email, like because you have to, there's a website, you can actually apply through the website, but it would take a lot longer because I'm sure they get lots of applications. But because I had networked with all of the managers and everything like that, and they're like, yeah, we've seen your stuff. Like, that's awesome. Like, blah, blah, blah. Like, what are you doing? Like, let us know if you need someone, you know, and it's like, oh, cool. And so even though I didn't hear from them, like there are a couple of other agencies, like really great agencies that I networked with there as well, like No Sad Cowboys. There's a few other ones as well. And I applied for all of them, not going to lie, because I was just like, you know, just to see what's out there. But the one that I really wanted was We Are Tenzing, and they're the one that got back to me and they're like, yes, like we would love to have you on our, like, within our whānau here at We Are Tenzing. And yeah, they were very thorough, and they do look after you, and like their job, because as Māori as well, it's quite uncomfortable talking about money. Right. with working, especially if you're working with Māori, and it's not because I think it's just like a whakamā thing. Like you don't want to take money from another Māori person, and like just in general, it's just awkward talking about it. But I've learned in this industry that you just have to stand up for it. Like you actually have to know your worth, and otherwise people will walk all over you.
Yeah, they will.
Having an agency, make sure that never happens. So I have a set rate, then they have their rate on top of that. They make sure they get their rate and I get mine. And then and so, yeah. And it's really cool. Like, you know, not only do they put me forward for jobs, they also like different PR events, just PR in general, things like that. So very grateful. And, you know, working with them, I've had 2 traveling jobs already from Perth. So I went to Napier. For a kaupapa there about rangatahi and hauora. They made their own guidelines. They reached out to me, and with the help from my manager, I was still able to go and work with them, even though I live in Perth now. Like I think I flew out within a month, like less than a month I'd been in Perth, and that was already like, yeah, cool, sweet, first job, come back. And then the next job was with Hahana, and I have worked with them multiple times. Like they were the first proper traveling job I ever had. So yeah, I went down to Waitangi. I went to Waitangi for Waitangi Day, and had a couple other jobs as well. And so yeah, it's just as long as if you find a manager, just as long as they're on the same page as you, as far as like kaupapa and like what you want and what aligns with you, because obviously those jobs really do align with me. And then the other job that I did was Deliver Easy. That does definitely align with me because I like food and I post about food. Like I'm happy. I was like, yeah, I will go to Deliver Easy. Let's run it back. I will, like so. Having a manager has really helped. I remember when I didn't have a manager and I was just starting out, I'd do a video and, you know, I'd talk to my friends about like the other social media creators, and I'm like, because we're very open in this space, like other creators, like most of the time we're pretty open with each other, and I like just out of curiosity, because they might have done the same job. They said, how much did you get for that? And I'll say this much. So like, you should have got way more than that. Your video is so good. Like what? Like you should ask for more next time. If they hit you again, you need to promote yourself, you know? So it's just having a manager takes the stress away from me doing that. And especially because I'm in Australia now, I still travel back to New Zealand a lot. And especially if there's a job like that's willing to pay for, you know, travel and everything like that, I'm definitely more than happy to come back. And I do have whānau there still. My partner has whānau up on the East Coast. So we will be coming back and forth anyway. But yeah, it's really good having that connection still in Aotearoa, so that I can still, you know, if companies want me to work from here and I'm able to do that, then sweet. And then, you know, moving all the way over here is a big challenge, but it's also a blessing in disguise because I have a whole new audience here that I haven't unlocked. And once I do, that's, you know, another world. Like it's another world here in Aussie.
I know, and I totally agree too, because I remember when I first started, you know, I was like you. I was just posting a post for fun, you know. I was like, oh yeah, I'll just jump on the trend and have fun, and then boom, blow up, and then boom, a following, and you go, what the heck? And there's that moment where you go, do I keep doing anything or do I just call it a day, you know? And it's like, oh no, okay, I'll keep doing it. And then you get the first, hey, we're blah, 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 and we would like you to blah, blah, blah. 1 minute video, this much money. And you go,
I was like,
what? For one video? And then though you talk to other people, you know, the Attention Seekers crew, are you familiar with them? And Stanley Henry, and they're actually a what do you call them? Like a social media marketing company. Like they work for other companies to do the socials and that. Anyway, I did a podcast with them, and he's a big sort of finance head guy, and he says, you know, and that's low pay. He's like, that's actually, they're almost ripping you off by charging, you know, giving you that much money. And you go, what are you talking about? Like, it's like, it seems like it's the most amount of money you've ever seen for, at the time, something so trivial, you know, you go, it's a video like that. How could I possibly ask for more? You know, that seems crazy to me. And it's definitely something you have to learn, because then you hear about what some of these mega influencers, you know, way above our realm of comprehension, but you hear what they charge people for videos and you go, what? You know, so you go, oh, maybe I do need to be a little bit more brave. You know, people out there with way less following making some good money just because they're not they're just comfortable to be like, nah, X amount. But then, you know, so it's pretty cool that you've got a, you know, a team to help you get past it, because it's definitely tricky. So do you have a goal with your content creation right now? You know, like, is there an end goal? Are you just going to keep going? Do you want to do a specific type of content? What are you sort of looking at, particularly now that you've, you know, cut sort of normal 9 to 5 and just kind of focusing on content?
I think I want to continue to do the same content that I'm doing, but obviously a lot of my popular content is all in New Zealand based content. Right. So it's a challenge, definitely a challenge for me, because I have to find my feet again. And it has been challenging, to say the least, to do that here. And I don't know anyone in Perth other than my partner. And because my partner doesn't want to be on social media, which is totally fine. Like you know, he supports me, and, you know, it is, like you said, daunting, you know, 250,000 people looking directly at my partner, and he's like yes. I don't like, no. So it's, the goal is to just continue to do what I'm doing on social media and continue to hopefully inspire people and rangatahi to be unapologetically who they are. And yeah, I think as far as content goes, I want to do like, it's hard when you know something works. I know that if I post a Māori video, it'll do well.
Yes.
I want to try and step out of, like, not step away from it, but just broaden my horizons, I guess, a little bit, and be able to do other content. And I know it's not going to, you know, go extremely well straight away, but, you know, you never know. And so I want to be more confident in doing other things that I'm not used to doing. Like, I've done it a few times. Like, I all of a sudden started doing like more kai, and then slowly but surely it did really well. Yes. Like, I did a video of me eating salmon wings on the East Coast, and it got like ridiculous. I was like, oh, okay. Like, right, sweet. Okay. Because I'm very, very picky with what I post. Like, I don't post, like, I won't post something unless I think it's up to a certain standard. So like, post things in an order. Sounds weird. I wouldn't, for me, post a video of me unboxing something, and then a video of me doing a get ready with me, and then another video of me like talking again. I do like talking, a sound. It sounds very ridiculous. Like, even my manager's like, like, it's okay. Like, you don't have to. I was like, I know, but I like how it looks, and I like how it's easy to scroll through. It's not just all my voice, and because I don't know, that's just me. Like, that's all my content, and, you know, the other creators that do that, and like, great, like, love that for you. Like, I don't know, I just like, so yeah. But as far as a goal, I just want to step out. I want to do more like cleaning and like household things, and living in Perth. Like, I have just started to find my feet, and because I've been away from our apartment and traveling, like doing those 2 jobs in New Zealand, just going to the Gold Coast, and other things going on, I've only really now just been able to find my feet in Perth. Right. I want to do a lot of content, because like you see, like, you hear a lot of people moving here. Yes. But there's not a lot out there, like, real, like,
the experience.
What to expect. Because it's completely different here. Like, like, people say, oh, you'll feel at home, there's heaps of Māori, but like, no. Doesn't, like, no, like, no. I'm sitting here staring at 20 other apartment buildings. Yes. Instead of, like, I lived like, when I was in Rotorua, my window looked to the Ngōtaha. Now I look, and like, I love it. Like, it's great, like, something different, and I'm enjoying it because, you know, it's different. Like, you got to experience different things in life to be able to figure out who you are, and you know, being alone, like, because I don't have many friends, and I'm totally okay with that. Like, I've come to a point in my life where I don't need a lot of people to, like, I don't need a lot of friends. To feel okay about myself, and I used to. But like, sharing that experience, like, you know, catching the train, and I want to do videos like catching the train and going somewhere random, like getting off random and getting something to eat, or, you know, things like that, and just that kind of still like helping people be confident and going and doing things. I know so many people nowadays have so much anxiety about going to different places by themselves. So yeah, I want to do those kind of videos, but still keeping my Māori Australian twist in it, because that's who I am, and it's not going to change, and it's not my intention to stop doing videos like that. I still want to do like transition videos and things like that I have already been that I've been doing for years. That's work, because it's been about almost 3 years that I've been on social media as well. So yeah, but I just want to mix it up and, you know, do things because I have the time now. It's like I can do different things and have the time, pardon me, to experiment with that kind of stuff. And, you know, I feel like because TikTok and social media is such a, you never know what's going to happen on it. In America, talking about like banning it and stuff. Things like that. So
it's so volatile.
Yeah. So I just try not to, because if TikTok goes away, then I'll still be able to, I'll figure it out. Like it's not like, it's not the end of the world. Like I'll just go to YouTube, or I'll go to Instagram. Like I still do Instagram. I started to work on Instagram, so I have that as well. But yeah, so yeah, I just want to continue to do what I do. I don't really have a set this.
Yeah, no, I mean, that sounds like enough of a goal though too, you know, and it's important for us as the creator to keep it fresh as well, you know, because like I'm in the same boat, like 3 years on, and by the time people are listening to this, it'll probably come out closer towards the end of the year, you know, but I'm contemplating now next year, you know, 2025, that I call it a day on the Māori educational content, you know. I'm like, it's about as, I can only teach so much as who I am, you know, and that's why I started doing this, so that I was like, man, why people keep asking me, you know? I was like, how about you, let's talk to the people who actually know the answer. So I started interviewing all the moko artists and that, and it's that funny thing where, you know, like you say, you change the content and that doesn't do as well. And I've seen that pattern strongly, and you know, also through simple things, which can be a difficult thing to sort of come to terms with, but like people don't listen to those interviews as much because it's not me talking. You know, people have followed me to listen to me. And so all of a sudden, and I was like, oh, stop listening to me, bro. Listen to the real knowledge keepers, you know. But it's like, oh, but it's not him. And so they move on, you know, and simple things like that. And it's important for us to keep it fresh. And you can absolutely completely change it up. You know, obviously I'm in a band, so the natural progression for me is like just make music content, you know, and just go fully into the music content. But obviously we will always be Māori. You know, and obviously the band, we sing in Māori, so that there's still the connection, even though you've completely changed the content. Like you say, you're on Perth, you're not even in NZ, but this is your experience as who you are in doing these things. And I think that'd be a pretty cool idea.
Yeah. And like with you as well, like, you know, I know it probably would be a lot of editing, but taking your followers along for the roadie or wherever you go, like just once, because I used to do it with Dana Life of a TikToker, teacher, and I personally am not a big fan of those videos for myself, because there's a lot of videoing. You can't really be
a lot of work,
a lot of editing, and you know, you finish the day with like an hour and a half, 2 hours worth of footage that you have to condense down into like at least 2-3 minutes, like max. But those videos would do well, I think, because not many, like you don't see very many vlogs of musicians.
Yeah, and their personal lives, like out and about, you know, if they're not like, I'm going to say natural, even though you're filming it and portraying a certain effect, but like we only ever see it in like fully fledged documentaries, you know, like that are fully funded by teams or whatever. And because that's like just recently, you know, I've made the jump over to YouTube and started making because the hardest thing about the TikTok was, 2 hours of footage, 2 minutes, you know, and it's like, that is a serious amount of work to make just such a quick glimpse. And like YouTube, it was like, well, you got 15 minutes, you know, and so you can make it much more natural in it. And so it's all a work in progress, you know, and we just thank those people out there who listening and who are just here to watch the journey, you know. Shout out you guys after all, because that's why we're here doing this and able to have this conversation.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because I hate editing. I don't like it, but then again, I would never have anyone else do it for me because I'm so picky. So like,
Yeah. I'm fortunate enough that my degree in university before I started doing all this, it was animation and movies. So like I got a big computer. I just sit here and I edit for hours and hours. Like these podcasts, you know, I just spend hours clipping them up into the 20-second bits that go on socials, and I could just sit here and do it. But I definitely know it's not for everyone. And I remember when I started, that's why I liked the type of content that I did, was I literally just pull up the phone, go, oh, all right, what's this question about something Māori, blah, 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 post, you know? Yeah. And then people started wanting to see more. They wanted to see the traveling stuff. Like, what happens in the day in the life of a musician? All of a sudden I was like, ooh, this is a lot of work. And then when I started doing these interviews, I'm like, whoa, this is a lot of work, you know? But it is what it is, and we do it because we love it. So right at the beginning, we talked a little bit, you know, about how that first video goes viral and you go, oh, wow, this is crazy. You open it up and it's full of hate, you know, and it's hate this and hate that. And like myself, I've seen you've had the same experience. It's normally to do with the color of our skin, you know, and it's nothing new. And we've had it our entire lives. It is what it is. And luckily we're confident enough in ourselves. But there are plenty of young Māori, or Māori at all, actually, of any age out there who don't feel worthy of being Māori, or they don't feel Māori, you know, and all these. Do you have any advice for Māori out there who feel unworthy of their whakapapa due to things like skin color, or even just, you know, disconnection from te ao Māori? Like, you were born overseas. Plenty of Māori are born overseas, and there is a disconnect there. You know, any words for them?
If you're Māori, you're Māori. You don't need no one can tell you otherwise. If you have whakapapa Māori, you have putoa Māori, you're Māori. That's like, there's nothing. I always say this. Like, I've had a couple of interviews who have asked me this as well, and it is what it is. Like, you are Māori. You know, you came out the way you came out of your mama. Yeah. That's it. Like, there's not like you just, but it's easy enough said. Yeah. Like, I know that because, you know, I was, you know, I didn't want to hear that I was, you know, look Paka when I wanted to be brown. Like I said, like I didn't, it takes a lot of work to feel 100% confident and being unapologetic. But then the Māori side is, and your culture is like, I'm never going to hide the fact that I'm half Australian. Right. Can't. I'm wearing it. Right. So, and then when it comes to my Māori side, like, that's inside of me. Like, it's not, I present Australian and white, but on the inside, I'm Māori from Maniapoto, from Kāwhia. So it's kids, rangatahi, even adults. Like, I know that some adults don't feel like they belong. Yep. Always being told that you're white. Like, you're not Māori, you're white. Like, you're 2% Māori. Right. There's no such thing as percentages. No. There's no such thing as not enough Māori. You don't look Māori. Like, there's actually none of that. Like, we are a colonized country. Yes. So you're very much going to see lots of different colors of Māori. Like, there's no right way to look, right way to talk, right way to act. Like, if you're Māori, that's it. Like, you don't, like, there's nothing else. Like, actually, there's nothing else to say. Like, nothing else I could say more. Yeah. Like, you just have to, you know, and then if you feel disconnected, go back to your whenua. I shit you not, you will feel so connected and you won't even understand it. Like, it's an indescribable feeling. And if you don't know where your whakapapa is, you don't know where you're from, just, your tupuna know who you are. I don't know. Yeah, like, you just, if you can go back to your whenua, you will feel so much more connected. Just like stepping onto my marae. When I'm having, like, before I moved to Perth, I went back and had a visit, just, you know, random. Went there, just about crashed on the gravel road. If you know, you know. Right. To Kāwhia. Oh my gosh. But yeah, it was the most peaceful feeling, and time just goes by so fast and you don't even realize it. Going to awa, and for me, Kāwhia is moana, so going to the moana, you know, simple things like that will make you feel so much more inspired and so much more connected to continue whatever it is you're doing, and to feel like, yes, this is my whenua. Yeah. My people were here. This is my te rangawaiwai. Like, this is, so. Yeah. No, perfect too. And, you know, I think that's a great answer. And it's, you know, it's essentially
which is kind of why I asked this question. It's the same answer, really, whoever I ask, you know. And I think that's the reason I'd say that and ask this is so that when people listen to it and they've heard the same answer 10 times, you know, and like you said, it is easy to say. And like for myself, fortunate enough to have grown up in it that I never really had to question it. So like I understand I've never really had to reconnect. And so I don't know what that feels like and how difficult that can be for people. But people do overcomplicate it so much, you know. It is simple. You're Māori, you know, and everyone has said it and everyone will continue to say it. And so I think it's just good for people to hear it over and over and over again. Even though it is easier said than done, it's good for people to just hear it. Now, you also shared your journey getting the moko, you know, on the side of your body. I remember that video. Yeah, there it is. So how was that experience for you, you know, as the guy who is known for talking about moko? There's always a moko question. What does moko mean to you, you know, and how was that experience?
Well, I guess for me, it's I wanted to get my tāmoko when I was 16. I also wanted to get it when I was 18.
Right.
And then it took, I think I was 20. Yeah. Oh, I don't, yeah. It feels like it's always been there now.
I know.
And I guess that's what it is. That is said, you know, moko, all tāmoko, moko kauai, mataora, everything was always there. The tāmoko artist just brings it out.
Yes.
So that's why I think this just feels so natural. Like I feel like I've had this for years, but honestly, it's probably been about 2 years that I've had it. The whole journey of it was really special because my uncle Nathan, he does all my pounamu, like all of my pounamu pieces. He designed my tāmoko. So he designed it with all of the different, like there's a video on it. Go watch it if you want to know details because that'll take a while. Basically, this is my whānau. It's not just my whakapapa, like it has my awa in it, but it has my mum's side and my dad's side direct and my nan and my koro and then my grandpa and my grandma Jeanette on my dad's side. So it's a very special piece. And it also the tail, because it's here we go. Okay. So it's a fly or a stingray. And stingray, my uncle picked a stingray. I didn't pick it. He just decided that's what I needed and he wanted me to have it for protection. I had a really rough time in my personal life at that time. I had some scars there as well. I don't think I've ever said that actually. But that they cover up those. And the tail of the fly or the stingray, the tail of it represents me and my journey and how I connect to both sides of my whānau. And so it took a while to get the design because my uncle is with Nan. He also actually dives and also carves still. So once he designed, he did 2. I picked the one I liked, sent it off to my other uncle, so these are my mum's brothers. So Uncle Nathan designed it. Then my Uncle Aaron did the tāmoko for me. So he's a tattoo artist based in Papamoa. And I was really lucky to be able to receive it from my uncle. So my tāmoko, and the only tāmoko I have at this point, but I'll probably get some more. So it was a very special experience. I also was fortunate enough to be asked by Hahana. The video still hasn't come out, but they documented my tāmoko journey as well. So that's why there wasn't heaps and heaps of content surrounding when I actually got it, but it was really good for me anyway because I was able to be present for the whole entire tāmoko. It took 5 hours, and because of obviously like things that were going on with COVID, and because I had just moved to the North Island, I only really had most of my whānau were on Zoom, and my koro had passed away at that point, and I had my korowai with me, and my korowai was on me the whole time. And to be like, my uncles were joking about it when I said I wanted on my ribs, and they're like, "You're not gonna sit, like that's a big, big towel, like you can't, like that's." I was like, "I know, but I want it there, and I just need it there, like that's where it's gonna go." And they're like, they thought, "Oh, she's gonna tap out. I'm gonna have to come back tomorrow." Blah blah blah. And because my Uncle Nathan, he stayed in the South Island because he has his whānau and everything. And so when I went to Papamoa, and my Uncle Aaron, the one that did the tāmoko, he was like, you sat so well. I'm completely shocked. And because my Uncle Nathan called me when I was almost done, how you going? Like, haha. I was like,
Right.
Oh, how much have you got to go? And Uncle Aaron's like, yeah, nah, bro, she's sitting really well. She sits better than most men, especially in this. And so it was actually really peaceful for me. It did get really sore up in the ribs and where my kōrero sits, like right in here.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And my nen. I always say that my nen was the sorest part.
Right.
But yeah, so I remember not crying throughout the entire tamoko throughout the whole 5 hours. Didn't cry, didn't move, like was pretty chill. I remember specifically like people like my one of my sisters came and visit me. She lived in Papua at the time. One of my aunties came and they'd like try to touch me, and I don't know why, but like I just didn't want people to touch me. Like
right.
I was just like, please, like I really love that you're here, and I'm like so happy. But I don't know if it was just because I was on my own waka, like I was just like, or like because I didn't want to move and didn't want to make it all ugly like lions. I was just like, that was a really big thing. Like I just felt really necessary to just be in my own like little space. Yeah. And then once the time walk had finished, I hadn't cried the whole time. My uncle, his name's Uncle Johnny. He's one of the kaumātua up in Kawhia. And he, for the last hour, did karakia for the entire hour. And like, a lot of people had jumped off the Zoom at that point because, it's 5 hours.
Yeah.
And I just remember the last line was done. I think it was the colour part. Like my kōrero was the last to be done.
Yeah.
And it was the last line, and I just like my Uncle Aaron said, "You're done." My uncle did like his finishing karakia, and I bawled my eyes out. And then like as soon as it finished, like as well, like before I started crying, I just felt this big, like this big over me, and it was as if I could feel my kōrero sitting there, like going, like, "Good job," like kind of. And because a fact about my kōrero is that I never wore it first. My kōrero did when he passed away on his, on his waka. So upside down, so I could still use it again. But I had only just received it, and my kōrero, I was the only one in our whānau at that time that was there. So yeah, it was really special. And I'll never forget the feeling. I've only really ever had that feeling one other time, but yeah, it was like a big like big warm and cold at the same time. Like, and then I just bawled my eyes out, shut up. And so very beautiful experience. I was happy that I could experience it and not feel obligated to be videoing all the time.
Yes, because that's one thing that I've felt when well, obviously everyone started following because of the facial moko. But I've had like more done since, and other places in my body. And I feel like I know that it would do well. Like that's one of those things again. I'm like, I guarantee you that's good content for people. But and I totally understand what you mean. It's just not really something that I want to be filming, for the most part. And like if it was in a circumstance, actually no, to be fair, like the band was having stuff filmed for the band at the time, and I remember that film crew was like, "Oh, can we come film this and that?" And I'm like, actually nah, I don't really. I let the moko artist film it for his stuff, which is totally fine. But, I was like, I don't know, it can be such a special moment that I don't really feel like I want to be filming those moments, and it's just for me. And I mean, y'all can see the final product when I'm running around with no clothes on stage, like that's fine. Y'all can see it, don't worry, you're gonna get to see it, but like I'm not gonna like film those moments for me. And I also totally understand what you mean by like there's this kind of meditative space you get put into, and like, so if I just use the face, it was 5-6 hours, boom, I was out, right? Like it was sore, and I remember it being sore, but like I was also out of it, like no crying, no nothing, no moving. I didn't even stop to eat. I just did the whole thing. That last line, and he had barely even taken the machine off, and you just know it's done. Yeah. And you go, and I was like, boom, like actually bawling. Like I don't think I've cried that hard ever outside of somebody dying, like that was easily the most I'd cried, like out of pure joy, or I don't know what that feeling is, it is joy, but Yeah, it's everything, you know, it's everything. It's such a powerful moment for people, and it's always something that I go, man, it doesn't matter how much I talk about moko to people overseas, that's the element that they will not be able to like truly comprehend, you know?
Yeah, I feel that, because like it was just a whole thing. Like I didn't expect. I'm an emotional person, so
Right.
like it was a bit delusional of me not to like to think, no, I'm not gonna. I'm like so tough, and I honestly thought, because my uncle got hyping it up so much, and you know I hadn't really had any substantial tattoo or tamoko or anything big before,
Right.
and this was like boom, like I had like a few little small tattoos here and there, but never something of this length and scale. And yeah, but I was lucky to have Tahu as well, because he was like, we're going to go stop. You can get a pie or something because you won't want to eat during it. Like, you won't want to eat, get you a drink or something because you won't want to eat. You just won't. And I was like, okay. Like, just thinking, I think I'll probably still want to eat. But no. He was right. I didn't feel like eating. When I had my break, it was to go to the bathroom. And that was it, because I was like, right, I need a break. And I say now that it didn't hurt, but I think it probably did. But I was in such a state of like
out there,
like, and because I'm lying, like that on the tongue, like I had my korowai here as well. I had cameras. I did have cameras everywhere, and I think even though I didn't film anything, I think that was how I like. And I've been very open with my tamako on social media and like explaining exactly what everything is, like the colors mean, what each line represents. And then also, being on camera and stuff like that. It was a really, really amazing experience, because it was like, and it was cool for my uncle because, he's already a very well-known tattoo artist, let alone tamako, from Dunedin as well as up in Papamoa, and it was just cool. It was a cool experience, and I think I wouldn't have done it any other way. So and I remember, like, I know for me anyway, with other tattoos, just like regular tattoos and things that I've gotten done that aren't tamako, when you get the stencil put on you and you're like, no, maybe not there, maybe like my uncle put it on me the first. I was like, that's amazing. Yes. Like, he didn't move it, and it wasn't even because I didn't want it to be all inky and like, redo it and stuff. I was just like, that's exactly where I want it.
Right.
Yes. Like, I felt, so yeah, like it was another layer of me being confident.
Yes.
Self as well. And another thing, like, it's now there, and it was always there, but now I can, now I can see it, It's, oh, that's right. Oh, that's cool. And it's good. Like, there's a lot of kōrero as well about people who just, and I think the reason why I was so open about it, and it wasn't at all me being defensive, it was actually like educating, because a lot of kōrero about people who just get tamako because it's cool, and that wasn't the case for me. And I don't really think, like, that's a whole nother like kōrero though, but like for me it was, I had, like, my uncle had said to me too, it's like, you've earned this, like, you didn't need to, but obviously the times that we were going to do it didn't work, like it just wasn't, we weren't ready, like, and I'm a firm believer in things being meant to be, and everything like that. And with everything that I was going through in my journey and putting myself out there and being unapologetically Māori, like, it was a very
fitting,
and it worked, like, and then Hahana reached out to me, and they didn't actually want to do, like, they didn't know I was getting a tamako.
Right.
They wanted to interview me so that I could be a part of Hahana. And I was like, like, I'm in Invercargill, so I mean, if you want to come down here, like, more than welcome. But I'm actually going to be going up north. I'm going to be getting my first tamako from my uncle. Maybe we could meet up, somewhere around in Papamoa or Rotorua kind of area. That's where my sister is from, and that's where my other sister. So they're like, oh, like, how would you feel about us filming your tamako? Like, would you be comfortable with that? And I was like, oh my gosh, like, yeah, like, I'd be totally like, and like, I was just happy because I didn't have to do anything.
Right,
and,
right.
You know, like as far as filming, because it's, yeah, it would have been, I wouldn't have, yeah.
Yeah.
It was as it should have been anyway.
Yeah. No, and it's so true. You know, I always say to a lot of people, "How do you know? How do you know? How do you know?" You just know. You just know that like, yeah, you might want it here and you might want it then, and then it never works out. And it's like, oh yeah, and then the moment it happens, it happens. You know, it happened for a reason. You know, and I agree. I totally, believe in that same sentiment too. Because I remember the same thing. I was on tour. I was in the middle of America somewhere. I was in bloody Texas, and I woke up and I went, oh yeah, nah, now's the time. And I texted my mum from the back of the tour bus and went, Mum, what do you reckon? You want to get yours done with me? You know? She was like, yeah, you know. Had I asked that a year ago, probably wouldn't have been the same answer, you know, like the time is the time. Now, we just a couple more questions here. And one thing I've been liking to do in these interviews is, you know, kind of paying it forward a little bit, I guess. And one of the things that, you know, I like that you do, which I don't see too often from other creators, not at least in the ones that show up on my For You page, you know, is these hauls from Māori businesses, you know, highlighting Māori businesses, Māori out there trying to make their break in the world with their things. You know, do you have some off the top of your head, some of your favorite Māori businesses?
Yes. So my older sister has her own business. Her name is Iho Creations. She's a mama of 6. She's also a teacher, but she creates Māori moko kauai earrings. So she also does whakapapa, like pepeha puzzles. She does, and she all works from home, and it's a whānau run business. Like I've gone over there a few times to help her make orders. She has a laser cutter, so a lot of her stuff is like done on that.
Right.
And, you know, she has 6 workers, so they all kind of, you know,
right.
their thing. And so, but that's, yeah, I'm very proud of my sister. So Equal Creations on Instagram. I'm still trying to get her to make a TikTok, but she's on Instagram and on Facebook, Equal Creations. Taurua based. Well, my sister's Taurua based, so she's from Taurua on her mum's side. So yeah, there's that one. Honestly, like I have a lot. Like a rongoa one that I really like is rongoa anaku. I'm pretty sure they're from, and then they make really like modern rongoa. So they do like a I don't know how to say it, like the chocolate, but it's the natural chocolate.
Right.
Cocoa.
Yeah.
I don't know. That one, and so that's a really good like sleeping tonic. They also do like skincare, things that calm you down, and I really love them. I used to see them a lot at the markets I used to go to.
Right.
Yeah, I've also just been fridge is making noises at me, sorry. And yeah, so I think also Weaving with Angels, that company I just recently worked with them, and they make kakahu, or like they make kakahu, and it's a very big process. Like it's not just traditionally most korowai makers, if you want a korowai, they just make it. Like it's not like a, you know, if they make it and they make it how they think and they make it how they feel. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like that's totally like, you know, that's how they do it. But with Auntie Jo's, what I call her, she makes it based on your whakapapa.
Yes.
You pick your colours, like based on what the korowai is for. You also pick it, like she'll help you pick the name. She's also like matakite as well. So she like has those kind of abilities as well. And really cool mahi like that she does. So yeah.
I think I saw that. Is that the red and black one?
Yeah. So cool. And then like I just got sent these really cool tops too, and those are so cool. They're based in the Gold Coast or Brisbane, I think. But I need to find it because I really like their stuff. I'm just terrible with names.
No,
it's because my sister's, you know.
Gold Coast. Not Our Roots.
Yeah, Our Roots. Our Roots. That's the one. I really like their kaupapa because it's so cool. Like I love their kakahu. And I really like them. I also really I really like Tuhi Stationery. I use their diary, and it's all in Māori, so I really like that. It's a really cool, thing. I also really love Pukinga Psychology. So Pukinga Psychology does karakia cards.
Yes.
Good if you're, learning and you're just starting out. It's a really good way to incorporate karakia into your daily routines because they have lots of different karakia. She has lots of different karakia cards, all with English translation as well. So you can learn, you actually know what you're saying, and it's not just karakia and you don't know what you're saying. Really love her concept as well. She also has like bigger pieces that you can display. But yeah, those are a few. I could really go on for ages because Soil and Sand.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, lots of that. Those are the ones that I've actually purchased from and worked with, and I really love their kaupapa. And they're all it's different from buying from a Māori paki because it's hard to explain, but there's a relationship that you, even if it's just not being gifted stuff, like buying stuff from them, it feels like you're giving back because I don't know if it's because of bias because I'm Māori and I would like to support Māori businesses, but it makes me feel happy supporting those people because you never know, everyone's gone through some struggles, and I'm sure that's the same with other businesses and stuff, but I don't know. I like to support Māori, so
yeah. No, I get it too because I've been sent stuff from Our Roots and that, and a few other businesses, predominantly in the clothes department, and I've also been sent clothes from non-Māori stuff, and it is different when I open it up and go, oh, who's this from? And I go, oh, you go, oh, this is sick, and then oh yeah, all right, I'll make a video and blah blah blah. I feel way more inclined to almost work really hard to make it look nice for them, because they're you just sort of connect to it a little bit differently.
And Our Roots was actually the first company because my partner's not, I've said my partner's not present on my social media.
Right.
They actually reached out to me and said, what's your size and what's your partner's size? And I was like, oh my gosh. And I told my partner, he's like, oh, that's so that's pretty cool. They even put it on the PR package.
I know.
Oh my God, it was so, I was like.
The box was dope from them. I remember that. I was like, this is one of the best boxes ever.
Yeah, I know. I still have the box. I'm never going to.
Yeah, me too.
But very personal. You wouldn't really see that, especially because he's not on social media. He's not doing it with me. I just thought that was so cool because with just it's different. Another company probably wouldn't do that if he's not on. There's no gain for them because he's not going to wear it online. He's not going to be on camera with me online trying it on how I would, just wearing it in content. And they still were that's without me even asking. And and I don't like asking that kind of stuff, but it was really cool. It's really cool.
Dope. And in the same vein as well, we've talked about Uncle Tix, we've talked about Judah, Wolf, the Hahana crew in general. So who are your favorite Māori creators?
Honestly, you pretty much named them. I really like watching your content. I remember when you first started and I was first started, and I think your content's really cool because it's different to mine because it's just pretty much educational. So when anyone would ask me, where do I go for educational stuff, I would send them your way.
Right.
Parker Davis, he's really cool, love his content, and congrats on winning that award. I have so much respect for people who do lives because I cannot. I just can't do them regularly enough to, maintain it. And for him and go to Australia, and the way he's presented himself on stage, amazing. So proud of him. I think I really like Paris Naku. She's a new creator. She does cooking. And I love her content because it's just so authentically her. Right. And she's great. Love her Kai. I'm a really big Kai. I love Kai pages.
Right.
Chriselle, she's also a friend of mine. She does Chriselle Whitesea. She does Kai as well, Māori Kai. And there's this aunt. Oh, I really like Auntie, the one that goes and honestly, a bit of a fangirl moment. She followed me back recently, and I was oh my gosh, I love this stuff. Because being Māori doesn't always have to be serious, and all of my content when it comes to Māori is quite serious. I've just come to the comedic part of social media, on TikTok. But I love So good. Love that. Like,
yeah.
love her.
And it's funny too, because you're right. I only know her as Auntie. I don't know what the name is.
Me and my partner call her Auntie Awatea, but I think her name's Auntie P here. I think that's
right.
But yeah, and I really like what Stan Walker's doing at the moment with his music.
Yes.
Honestly, bawled my eyes out when I heard his latest single for that movie.
Yes, I am.
Oh, that was like, yeah, giving me goosebumps right now. Yeah, he is amazing.
And for anyone listening in, remember, we've talked to Stan on the show, so go and watch it if you haven't already. It's already out by the time this is out.
Yeah, I actually saw that, because I saw that come up my For You page yesterday, actually. And yeah, but and everyone from Hahama, I have a deep respect for all of them, because all of their content may not just be focused on Māori, but they're Māori and they're killing it. Like, and I'm so proud of all of them. Judah, winning her award, amazing. And Leighton still being unapologetically himself.
Yeah.
So yeah, so proud. Like,
that's a strong list.
Māori content creators in Aotearoa. And yeah, so it's really cool. There's a lot. I could go on for like minutes about all the different content creators. And
that's why I like that question too. And it's also why I started doing branching out from because even this podcast interview series started off still in the educational department. Like, it was interviewing more artists. But the reason I like this question is because, I'm in that same boat. My content's pretty serious for the most part. Well, I don't know if serious is the right word necessarily, but it's educational. It's not, I'm not there having like fun, so to speak.
Yeah.
But there are plenty of creators out there who are Māori, but they don't necessarily post Māori content, or in the same vein, like, because even the comedic stuff like Hahana, it's comedically Māori. Like, there's definitely the element of Māori there, but like, it's not always like my content was, which is just obviously answering questions about things Māori. And sometimes, because I try to stay off social media, I lose track of who's doing what and from where, and so I always like this question, because everyone's like, these people, and it just allows it to, social media is a community of sorts anyway, and particularly Māori, we're one giant community. It's this funny thing where, like, I think for the most part we all basically follow each other, the ones of us in this realm, but it's a weird thing where, like, until now, never really spoken. Well, in my experience, because I'm much more isolated in my day-to-day lifestyle, that I don't find myself at like the big events and that sort of thing as much, so I don't get to do much of the networking side of things, and so that's what I've also enjoyed about this series, is just being able to actually connect with people, and also gives me more ideas of people to chat to, because I'm like, of course, like Judah, I keep forgetting she was on my list, and I keep forgetting, and I go, wait, who was that person that I wanted to
Judah, because she's so good at what she does. Like, I will never, like, she deserved that award, despite what John says. She deserved that award. She has been doing it way longer than I have. She actually does it full time, like consistently enough to sustain herself.
Yep. And
she is on another level. Like, she's crazy. Love her. Yeah. I also forgot to mention Michaela. She does. Of
course, the Waiata.
Oh my gosh, the
angelicest voice of all time.
I know. Like, she signed with. She did FIFA. Like, she did the World Cup. Like the soccer thing. Honestly, that's amazing. Like, you never know what social media can do for someone, and she deserved that too. Yeah. Like, and on another level, like, doing completely something else. Awatea Jennings, she's one of the girls. She's over in America, playing basketball, giving our Māori name the good. Like, she is smashing it. Like, I think she got Player of the Year or Player of the Season, like 2 years. And so, you need some people to interview.
Yeah, I was like, that's a list today.
Okay. And so,
Awesome. Well, That's us. Tēnei te mihi nui ki a koe e hoa moto kōrero I te ahi nei for me. I don't know what time it is for you. Maybe, yeah, it must be in the afternoon now.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, perfect. You know, thank you so much. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to sit down, have a chat. You know, I just think it's cool to be able to highlight inspirational people, inspirational Māori, inspirational youth, you know, those who are going to carry forward these visions going forward into the future and in this world and future that we have on social media. Now, just to wrap us up, any advice then? Do you have any advice, or even if you would advise people to start, anyone who wants to start creating content online?
Just do it.
Yeah.
Just do it. Like, yeah, just do it. Because, like, what's the worst that could happen? It could flop. Like, really,
Right.
like, what's the big deal? You could delete it if you don't like it. But
Yeah.
just try. Like, you have no idea what we live in a world where people are more likely to pay for a creator on TikTok or Instagram or YouTube more than they would a newspaper ad now that they like that's how it would have been.
Yes.
If you just wanted to do it, if you just want to do it for fun and you know, or you want to do it for work, you like we're so lucky, like you don't have to pay.
Right.
Like you just do it. Like,
Yes.
just do it. Like just do it. Like there's no you don't need to be scared about it. And it's a really good way to like come out of your shell without having to go out into the world straight away. And then you can, you know, work, you know, like, I don't know, it's just do it. That's all I have to say. I always say to people, just do it.
Yeah.
And once you start, network. If you know someone, like, you know, someone of someone of someone, and there's a way that you can talk to someone about what you're doing, do it. Networking is great. Just do it. Just do it. Yeah.
Perfect. Amazing. Nice and simple. The famous 3 words, just do it. All right. Well, thank you so much again